everybody. We weren't all able to get together for Wren Day this year, so we seized on the idea, we at the local cultist branch, to throw together a few videos from years past, but quite a few videos from this year, people filming at home, to try to give you part of the St. Stephen's Day, Wren Day tradition that we've all become used to. I've got Ben Hockenberry. He's going to be our producer for today, throwing up the clips and taking care of the technological aspect of it, because I am completely at sea. So there are going to be points where you might have to adjust your set, as it were. Some things are going to be a little louder, some things are going to be a little quieter. But hopefully we can give you some sense of the community spirit and what we all appreciate about Wren Day every year at Carroll's. So we're going to start off with a song from Cathy McGrath, a mainstay at the Wren Day celebrations going back to the very beginning, which we'll talk more about as the night goes on. But we'll let Cathy start off with the traditional Wren Boys song, the Wren, the king of all birds. So, Ben, take it away.
The Wren, the king of all birds, St. Stephen's Day was caught in the furs. Though he was little, his honor was great. Jump up me, lads, and give him a treat. Rolling, prone, and where's your nest? It's in the tree that I love best. In the tree, the holly tree, where all the boys do follow me. Up with a kettle and down with a pan, and give us a penny to bury the wren. Up with a kettle and down with a pen, and give us a penny to bury the wren. We followed the wren 3 miles or more, 3 miles or more, 3 miles or more. Followed the wren 3 miles or more at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have a little box under me arm, under me arm, under me arm. Have a little box under me arm, a penny of tuppence will do it no harm. Mrs. Carroll's a very good woman, a very good woman, a very good woman. Mrs. Carroll's a very good woman, she gave us a penny to bury the wren. Up with a kettle and down with a pan, and give us a penny to bury the wren. Up with a kettle and down with a pan, and give us a penny to bury the wren. Short and sweet.
That's great. So I'm going to try to keep the talking to a minimum so that you can listen to as much music as you can. But I'll just give those who aren't familiar with the Wren Day tradition just a little background on what that song is saying. So the Wren, the king of all birds. Traditionally, apparently, the Wren was the king of all birds because all the birds had a competition to see who could fly the highest. And of course, the eagle was favored to win this competition, being a noble bird that we use as our national emblem. But the wren hid under the feathers of the eagle. And as the eagle was soaring up and saw that there was nobody behind him, and realizing that he had won, or thinking that he had won, started to descend. And the wren at that point jumped off of the eagle's feathers and flew up higher, and thereby won the title of King of the Birds. But it goes into really a sort of pagan tradition, because it's kind of been integrated into the Christian tradition with St. Stephen's Day, but we really don't know why the Wren tradition exists. Now, what that entails is that young boys, and later on girls, would go out and hunt a wren on every St. Stephen's Day, going back more than 1,000 years, as long as Christianity has been in Ireland, and even further. It's been kind of, like I said, integrated into the St. Stephen's Day tradition by saying that the Wren gave away St. Stephen's tradition and position, and so the people who came to martyr St. Stephen were able to find him. But really, we don't really know why the tradition of hunting the wren and killing him and going from house to house, as was the tradition for hundreds or even thousands of years, existed. We don't really know. We've got sort of ideas about it, and there are all sorts of folklore and stories about it, but we don't really exactly know. Nowadays, they don't actually kill a bird anymore. They just take around a a phony bird and in a box. And the tradition has gone for years and years. Up next, we're going to have a song called "The Boys of Barr, Sraide," which refers to that tradition of the boys going out early in the morning and killing this little bird, and then going from house to house, asking for tribute for this king of all birds, so that the boys who are going around collecting the money or collecting the treats or whatever could have a big party. And so that's what the song that she was singing refers to. We're going to have Brian Clancy now, a mainstay at Carroll's and the Wren Day tradition, and a great Irish musician from Galway, who has great Wren Day tradition memories that he can tell you about. He's going to sing "The Boys of Barr, Sraide," which is a song from a man named Sigerson Clifford, who wrote about a little town called Cahersiveen in the County Kerry. And this part of the town called Barr Sraide was where all the characters in this song come from. So Ben, you want to cue that up for us?
1.
The Boys of Barr Sraide. Oh, the town that climbs the mountains and looks upon the sea. At sleepy time or waking time, it's there I'd like to be. To walk again those kindly streets, oh, the place where life began, with the boys of Barr Sraide, who hunted for the Wren. With cudgels stout they roamed about to hunt for the droline. We searched for birds in every furt, from Litzer to Dunedin. We danced for joy, though beneath the sky life held no print nor clan. When the boys of Barr Sraide went hunting for the Wren. And when the hills were bleeding and the rifles were aflame, to the rebel homes of Kerry the Saxon strangers came. But the men who dared the odd seas and fought the black and tans were those boys from Barr Sraide, who hunted for the Wren. But now they toil in foreign land, where they have made their way, deep in the heart of London town, or over in Broadway. And I am left to sing their deeds and praise them while I can, those boys from Barr Sraide, who hunted for the Wren. And when the wheel of life runs out and peace comes over me, just take me back to that old town between the hills and sea. I take my rest in those green fields, the place where life began, with those boys from Barr Sraide, who hunted for the Wren.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful stuff from Brian Clancy. And for me, that song really sums it up. The writer of the song, the person who's singing the song, is looking back on his entire life through the lens of Wren Day, of St. Stephen's Day, the boys of Barr Sraide who hunted for the Wren, and thinking about all the exploits they had, all the fighting against the black and tans and moving abroad. Wren Day, in its capacity as, and this is again pre-Christian, probably a couple thousand years old, in its capacity as a vehicle for memory and for thinking back on the year that you've had, but also the years and years that you've had, is very important to the day. It's a combination of Halloween and Christmas caroling in a lot of ways. The boys going from door to door, this spirit of community and camaraderie that still exists in some communities today, and most notably here in Rochester. We have one of the oldest Wren Day traditions in the country. There's almost no, there's nothing really comes close. Any continuous tradition like we have at Carroll's, and that started back in the 70s and the 80s, as we talked about in that in our cultus Zoom chat that we had the other day. Just thinking back on the origins of Wren Day and thinking about the generations of Irish who came after World War II to look for work, who formed the Harps Club and the Hibernians Club, and who founded pubs like Molly Malone's, like Carroll's, like McGinnity's, who kept the traditions going and kept the music going and kept the community together, as fractured as it can be in the American experience. That this day is really the quintessential tradition that has been kept going for 3-4 generations. And in the spirit of recognizing how important Carroll's is to the tradition and to the community, we have the official or unofficial, I'd say it's probably the official anthem of Carroll's Barr, written by Phil Hand and sung by the man himself. So I'll ask Ben to cue that up, and we'll listen to a recognition of people both departed and still with us who have made up this Irish community. And it's a big list, but an incomplete list, because it's really hundreds and hundreds of people over the years and over the decades who have sustained our community and our tradition. But Phil Hand, he brings it across like anybody else, or like nobody else. So I hope that you have a drink in your hand so you can help him with the chorus. Take it away, Ben.
Yeah. When me day's work is over and I'm on the free, there's only one place that I'm wanting to be. By foot or by mule or by horse or by car, I'll find me some way to Joe Carroll's bar. When I walk in the back door and greet all me friends, 'tis like a lost traveler's return home again. When I slide on a bar stool and order a beer, Joe steps from the kitchen, says, "How are you, dear?" So fill up your glasses and raise them with me, while I thank the good Lord for this fine company. You can roam, you can ramble, both near and both far, but you'll not find more fun than at Joe Carroll's Bar. There's Sparkle and Trudy and Sweet Anne Marie, a prettier pair you're not likely to see, with Cale and Patrick around to say hi, and Annabelle serving that wondrous fish fry. So fill up your glasses and raise them with me, while I thank the good Lord for this fine company. You can roam, you can ramble, both near and both far, but you'll not find more fun than at Joe Carroll's Bar. Well, Joe and John Dady will make the walls ring. Liam McGee are the sweet songs he'd sing. Mike Ryan on banjo as Liam's relief, and the fine dancing fiddle of Marty O'Keefe. So fill up your glasses and raise them with me, Well, I thank the good Lord for this fine company. You can roam, you can ramble, both near and both far. But you'll not find more fun than at Joe Carroll's bar. There's a bunch of fine fellas I dare not leave out. They're the lads that keep pouring that fine Guinness stout. And they'll pour me a pint to take care of me cough. And I pray to St. Patrick they won't shut me off. So fill up your glasses and raise them with me. Well, I thank the good Lord for this fine company. You can roam, you can ramble, both near and both far. But you'll not find more fun than at Joe Carroll's bar. When me journey is over and it's my time to go, if God in his kindness don't send me below, and if the angels in heaven ain't tapping a beer, I'll say 3 Hail Marys, they'll plant me right here. So fill up your glasses and raise them with me. Well, I thank the good Lord for this fine company. You can roam, you can ramble, both near and both far. But you'll not find more fun than at Joe Carroll's bar. That's good enough, isn't it?
I just love that song, and it's never carried across better than by Phil Hand. But he names so many people in that song who are so integral to our community. People we've lost, Anne Marie, and of course Marty. And this occasion, the Wren Day tradition, where you see people that you would not see other times of the year, people who come back to town or people who just don't get out. It's hard not to think about the people that we've lost. And of course, this year, a year of loss is no exception. Get into more of them, but I'd like to highlight one right now. Jerry Flanagan was such a great friend and such a wonderful, wonderful man. With the exception of Mike Ryan, he's probably the one person who heard more of Marty O'Keefe's music than anyone. And a lot of us wouldn't have had the opportunity to hear Marty as often as we did in the last 20, 25 years of his life, were it not for his faithful friend, son-in-law, and chauffeur, Jerry Flanagan. I'm gonna try my hand at one set of tunes tonight. I'm gonna play one that Jerry was an accomplished musician, but he tried his hand at the fiddle for the last few years of his life. So I'm gonna play a tune that I always associate with him. He played "Shoe the Donkey," and then I'll play an appropriately Christmassy tune called Christmas Eve, which again I associate with Marty. I'm gonna miss Jerry. Gone well before his time. He was really a lovely, lovely guy. so that's that. So that's over with. I'd like to throw it over to Cathy McGrath, who also plays a great Marty tune that is appropriately named for this holiday. Happy to Meet and Sorry to Part. It's a wonderful old Marty tune that we actually took over to one of our show tunes that when we went over to Ireland for the Sister City trip that we did in 2010. That was one of the signature tunes that we brought over. So Cathy's going to play that on the flute, and see what that sounds like. This was from the Zoom chat that we did on St. Stephen's Day itself amongst all the musicians. Hope you enjoy it.
Mute. You're on mute.
That's can't be the first time any of you've seen that. Sorry about that. I love that tune. Happy to Meet and Sorry to Part. Just the perfect title for this time of year. And unfortunately, we can't fulfill it as we would like to. And there were all sorts of great tunes the other day on the Zoom chat. The Frost is All Over was one that Ted played, and The Snowy Path was one that Pat Carey played. And we just reminisced about the Wren Day tradition and how wonderful it is. But we couldn't help but think back on the people on this year of loss that we've lost. Jerry, of course, as I mentioned. Goodness gracious. Chris Carroll, terrible. One of the last, really the last of that generation. Among the last of that generation that came over in the post-war period. Mike Madigan, poor Alicia Healy, who lost her battle with cancer, and Clint Lloyd, a pillar of the community that just, it was just terrible to see him go. But hopefully the tradition and the community lives on in the kids, as Patricia Lloyd exemplifies, as the entire O'Keefe and Flanagan family exemplifies. It's hard. And the Carroll, of course, the Carroll family exemplifies. It's hard. But we keep going and we remember them. And that's what's great about Wren Day, is that we get to think about the future, but we also get to recognize how important our past is to us. And we wouldn't have that community if it weren't for events like Wren Day and institutions like Carroll's. So in the early days of the Wren Day tradition here in Rochester, they had a charitable contribution. That's what they do in Ireland too, is that they collect money. Instead of collect money for the funeral of the Wren, they collect money for charity. And that was what the early tradition in Rochester was. And maybe that's something we'll do again soon. But we're not asking for any charity tonight with this broadcast. We'll hope that you will patronize Carroll's. They're doing takeout Wednesday through Friday. Forgive me if I'm mistaken there, but I hope that anybody who's listening to this now and anybody who's listening to the broadcast or the recording afterwards will consider getting some dinner there and just helping out, because all the restaurants and all the bars need all the help that they can get now. One person that we've lost this year is John Prine. So John Dady was gracious enough to let us use something from his broadcast on Christmas night. His recording of a John Prine song, Silent Night, All Night Long. So Ben, if you'll cue that up.
There's a pantry in a window in a house on a hill, with treetop angels sitting perfectly still. She's watching the shoppers walk through the snow, with their arms full of treasures and their hearts all aglow. We held hands and stared at the lights on the tree, as if Christmas was invented just for you and for me. When the angel on the treetop requested a song, we sang Silent Night all day long. There's a family that's gathering in some living room, dinner on the table that's been cooking since noon. The stockings are hanging on the mantle with care, while everybody is saying their prayers. We held hands and stared at the lights on the tree, as if Christmas was invented just for you and for me. And the angel on the treetop requested a song, we sang Silent Night all day long. There's a room out there somewhere with a woman in a chair. Memories of childhood still lingering there. I breathe the paper, the lights and the snow. I precious the memories of long, long ago. We held hands and stared at the lights on the tree, as if Christmas was invented just for you and for me. When the angel on the treetop requested a song, we sang Silent Night all day long.
So I was just informed that I wasn't sitting close enough to the mic, so I hope you've all been able to hear everything that we've said, and I hope that the media has come through. Wren Day is such a special tradition for me. It just means the world to me. And I can't wait to celebrate it with my fiance and with my little daughter Aoife here in hopefully 2021. So the entire idea behind the killing of the wren going back thousands of years was the killing of the old year and the killing of the old year and the welcoming in of the new. And so unfortunately the wren, that poor little bird, was the sacrificial lamb of years and years. We don't do that anymore, but we can still recognize how important it is to look back and how important it is to look forward. And we've lost more people than we want to think about, but we don't forget them. And that every year when we get together on Wren Day and we see people that we wouldn't see any other time of the year, we get to think about how good it would be if they were here with us. And I'd like to dedicate this broadcast to a person who loved Wren Day better than almost anybody I ever knew, and a person who partied harder than anybody I ever knew, that my cousin Brendan, who left us a few years ago. And I'm sure that while all of you are sitting out there listening to this very short broadcast, that you're thinking of people that you were lucky enough to spend this holiday season with, who we don't have anymore. But that's the thing about community. That's the thing about the Irish, is that we don't let those people be forgotten, and we keep it going from one generation to the next. So this will end our broadcast. I've got just a snippet of one of the mainstays of the Wren Day tradition here in Rochester. Ben McIntilla wasn't feeling up to recording anything this year, but we were able to dig out of the Facebook archives. We were able to dig out some footage of him, just the end of him singing "The Parting Glass." So we'll leave you with this, and thank you for joining us with this very lo-fi, very low tech, at least from my point of view, remembrance of Wren Day, a few days late. Thank you to Ben Hockenberry for doing the production on this, and here's to a better new year. Thanks, everybody.
I wish me one more day to stay, but since it falls unto my lot, I should rise and you should not. I will gently rise and I'll softly go.